Hi, and welcome to Lesson 3 of Chapter 6, where we'll dive into social media. So I know that's a really exciting topic, and there is a ton to cover, and a lot of it is changing constantly. So my goal is to keep you up to date on the latest information that I have right now, and then in the course content in the comments to provide any more information as this changes, because this landscape does change quickly. And then if things change a lot, then to make a new video and replace it with this one. So for now, what we'll be talking about in lesson 3 is what platforms I'm recommending you use, which social media platforms for your campaign. Then we'll talk about some general guidelines just in social media use in general. And then we'll do a deep dive on a couple of platforms. First, Facebook, and then Snapchat. So we'll learn all about this in just a moment. So let's jump in here. So the platforms that I'm going to recommend are Facebook and Snapchat. Probably given away on the previous slide where I said we'd do a deep dive on these two. Excuse me. So as I mentioned before, really sorry guys, I'm getting over this nasty flu that was going around the US really bad. And just got this lingering cough that will hopefully be gone very soon, so my apologies. So there's plenty of other social media platforms that you can use for your campaign if you feel like it. Like Instagram is super popular, and maybe you have an Instagram following already that you want to leverage, or you think it works the right way for your campaign. Feel free to use it. Same with others. But for the strategy that I'm going to outline in this big holistic approach to media, in particular social media, Facebook and Snapchat are the two big key players. So let's talk about some general guidelines for social media use, and in particular on Facebook and Snapchat, and in the approach that I'll be recommending to you. So just some call outs here. So be careful. So what do I mean by be careful? I mean, so my rule with what I write on social media is that if I wouldn't say it in front of my mom, and if I wouldn't say it walking down the street in front of total strangers, then I don't put it on social media. But with that said, my mom and I are pretty tight, and I'm not exactly a bashful person that's afraid to say too much in front of strangers. So create some guidelines for yourself. Be strict about it. Be really honest with yourself and how much you want to put out there, and how tightly you want to manage your brand. But I recommend managing it very tightly and sticking to it, being very, very careful about what you put out there. Think about things before you put them out there. But with that said, you want to appear candid. You want to be candid. So I know it's a bit of a balancing act. You have to be this super careful person, but at the same time you have to come off as candid. But you'll start to learn that you'll start to find that balance, and it will feel natural. And when you're talking via social media or posting, it will start to feel more and more candid. And then in sort of the same vein, be authentic. So it's not just talking about a kind of boring legal type issue in your district, or talking about, hey, the election is only a week away, the election's 3 days away. So that's great, that's necessary, but you also need to show your true authentic self, and get real with your audience, the voters in this case, and talk about things that are meaningful for you. Open up a little bit and really show that authentic self. And one day you might be kind of fired up and angry about something, as long as you're being careful, and not having a temper tantrum on social media. But maybe your passion and your anger in that moment is who you truly authentically are about this certain issue, or maybe in the middle of your campaign, your grandma dies and you give a really meaningful post on social media about her and maybe shed a tear or two via video. I don't know, but that authenticity goes a really long way to gaining social media following and at the same time, gaining supportive voters. So be polished. So this is, a balancing act with being candid and being authentic. But the idea here, guys, is that social media is more and more becoming the primary medium that that voters see their elected officials or candidates for elected office. So if you think about it, back in the day, that was only in real life appearances that were scheduled and planned, or a TV appearance that was scheduled and planned, or a TV commercial that was super, super scheduled and planned and lots of makeup and everything. So the public would only see a very, very polished version of this candidate for office. So, that had its pros and cons. It was less authentic and less candid. But since you are making yourself so available, or so visible, try and remember that it wasn't that long ago when politicians always looked polished, when people would only see them looking polished. And people are going to expect to see you a little bit polished. So if that means you're jumping on Facebook Live and to talk about an important issue, but you're sitting in your living room and your hair's a mess and you're wearing a hoodie, maybe it means going and doing something with your hair real quick, splash a little water in your face, take off the hoodie, throw on a polo, or something else, just to add a little bit of polish there. So just treat your social media just be cognizant that this is maybe the primary means that you're reaching your voters, and what that really means. So fifth is be consistent. So in surveys of just consumers in general, like outside of the political realm, and just in social media marketing and social media, like best practices for gaining followers, and like these surveys that they do about that, the one thing that comes up very often that frustrates consumers of social media content is inconsistency. So perhaps someone has been posting quite a bit on Snapchat and they sell like beauty products, and then they kind of like show people their everyday life and whatever. And people enjoy watching their Snapchat and they watch them almost every day. And then that person like just suddenly doesn't post for like 3 weeks, and then they post for like a few days, and then they don't post for like a week. And that is something that apparently frustrates consumers of social media. So when you start up your media efforts of your political campaign, you'll want to be consistent from there on out. I'm not saying you have to like post stuff on social media all day, every day, but if you kind of start to set a precedent that you're posting something meaningful every other day, then keep up with that same sort of cadence. So it's just something to be mindful of, that people really appreciate consistency. So now let's get into the first platform that I mentioned, and that's Facebook. So we all know what Facebook is. I'm going to talk about best practices and recommended strategies of how you can use Facebook to really maximize the platform for driving outcomes in your campaign. And by outcomes, I basically mean supporters, volunteers, and donors. So let's see here. So 2 main goals for Facebook. You want to increase your followers, increase the number of people that have liked your Facebook page and are paying attention to your campaign. Second, you want to convert those followers into either donors or volunteers. So those are the overarching goals as we talk about these individual strategies in using Facebook. It'll all be coming back to increase your number of followers and to convert those followers into donors or volunteers. So how are we going to do that? With engaging content and lots of it. So this is a little teaser for the holy grail of Facebook. So what is the holy grail of Facebook? It's basically you post content to Facebook with the single goal of getting as many likes, comments, and shares as possible. So this is how, this is the like front and center holy grail mission for everybody that's using social media marketing to make money today. And we're going to apply that same sort of strategy and that same approach to your political campaign. So everything that you post to Facebook, you should be thinking about, okay, how do I post this? How do I create this? How do I use my time on this social media platform to get as many likes, as many comments, and as many shares as possible? So now let's deep dive into the different types of content that you can post to Facebook in order to get as many likes and comments and shares as possible. So the first content we'll talk about here is photos. So this photo is cute. I like this. This was at the Hillary 2016 campaign office in Lower Manhattan. We were doing phone banking there. This was GOTV weekend, and that is comedian Anna Gasteyer. She was on Saturday Night Live for a long time, but she was there just doing get out the vote activities. So yeah, that was fun. Good memories. Okay, so pictures of what? So what are we gonna post pictures of on Facebook? You could do community events. So when you're out at different, like there's a billion different community events that you'll be invited to and want to go to when your campaign starts up. So those events that you go to, post pictures of them. Pictures with community leaders, your mayor, your city council, heads of nonprofit organizations, local celebrity types. And then also you'll want to put in a good mix of non-campaign stuff. So your social media presence is going to be about your campaign, and that should be the focus. But something that hooks people in, that makes them stick around and more interested, is when you throw in non-campaign stuff and show that you're a real person. You're not just thinking about politics 24/7 and thinking about your campaign 24/7. So maybe, you know, every so often you do like Throwback Thursday, and you show a picture of you and your spouse getting married like years and years ago, and people will be like, oh my God, that's so cute, and you know, they're not expecting to see it, and you know, and you put something really sweet in there or whatever, or you know, your like picture of you and your best friend, or something personal, and that also kind of goes, I just want to say, like, when I say non-campaign stuff, it should be personal things that are meaningful for you. Like if you're really interested in, let me think of a stupid example, not stupid. If you're really interested in like innovation in oil drilling, but like the really nerdy aspect of it, like changing, like new engineering drill bits and for drilling oil in particular parts of the world or whatever, something like very technical, and it's just kind of a like pet passion for you, and sure, that's like a non-campaign thing, and but don't post about that from your campaign page. Or if you're really interested in like the San Francisco Giants, but you're running for office in Chicago, like don't post about the Giants a bunch in there. Like your voters aren't going to care about it. So still be cognizant that like if you are posting non-campaign stuff, it's got to be something that your like audience is going to halfway care about or find like cute or amusing, and like go back to that, like, is it going to get a lot of likes? Is it going to get a lot of comments? Is it going to get a lot of shares? That's the whole entire point. Okay, so tips to increase engagement on Facebook photos. So you have your pictures of what, and then this is how to do it so that you can get better engagement. When I say engagement, that means likes, comments, and shares. So get closer up in the photo. You'll notice that this picture that I have here from this Hillary campaign event, it's pretty close. It's halfway because we're doing it selfie style. But if somebody else is taking the picture for you, make sure they get up nice and close. You don't want it from a distance. And there's actual data that shows that when people are going through a social media feed, one of the things that catches their eye the most and pulls them in the most is a close-up on people's faces. Like well-lit faces really draw the human mind, the human eye into it and make you want to learn more about what's going in that photo. So get closer, and if it's kind of far, then try and crop it down without it, losing a lot of quality. Lighting, make sure that you have nice, bright, well-lit photos. Even if it's not of faces, not of people, if it's of say you're at a really beautiful gala dinner to raise money for a local charity, and you take a photo of the room, but all you can really tell is that it's a bunch of round tables and some kind of fancy decor and a stage, but it's kind of dark and grainy. That doesn't really work. That's not people don't respond to that. They don't really care about it. But if you were there and you had a closer up picture of one of the beautiful centerpieces on one of the tables, and then the little pamphlet program or something that said a gala to support such and such charity, and took it up close and it was really well lit and high quality, then that's going to be much more engaging to people, and it still gets the same point across. So that uses both tips: get closer and make better lighting. And then third is have a really great caption, whether it's something funny that people are going to laugh at and stop by, or something that's really heartfelt and meaningful, or something a little bit clickbaity and catches people and is just really meant to catch people's attention. That could be a little bit more kind of kitschy and almost trying a little too hard. With Facebook photos, people give a little more leeway in that sense. Okay, so that is it on photos. So now let's jump into news stories. So when I say news story, I mean something comes across on the New York Times or the Sacramento Bee or the Miami Herald, whatever, and you think that this news is worthy enough to share on your Facebook feed because you want people to know about it. So I do this all the time, probably a couple times a day, share news stories to my Facebook feed because I want to spread it around. I want people to know that this story's happening, and I think it's important and people should know about it. So it's that sort of thing. So something to be mindful of when you post a news story and offer commentary along with it, that's going to be treated as your official public statement on the matter. So if someone from your local area, let's say you're running for city council and your mayor gets caught having an affair and he's married, and the story breaks in your local newspaper, and you post a link to the story on your Facebook, and you say, "What a scumbag! I can't believe that he would do this," and shows you that he has really terrible quality of character. I mean, that's the future news stories, and if there's follow-up articles, which there would be follow-up articles to something like that, and the newspaper could say, Chris Moore, candidate for city council, responded by saying, "What a scumbag." Goes to figure, we knew that he had a crappy character of quality of character. whatever I said just a minute ago. And then that would be in quotes in the newspaper, because that is treated as an official public statement, because you're writing it, you're putting it out there for the public, so therefore it is your statement. Okay, the second tip here about posting news stories. So say something unique about the story, or don't say anything at all. If you're just gonna chime in and kind of say what everyone out there in the Twitter sphere or Facebook sphere in this case is saying, I would just not bother. I mean, what's the point? You get my drift. Third is to stay out of the gutter. So even if something really gross is happening, something terrible that you just think is the worst, rise up, rise above, say something thoughtful, say something thought-provoking, give your perspective, and do it in a classy way. I don't always do this on social media, but I'm not running for office. You are, so you need to be mindful of that. So stay out of the gutter, don't trash people, and, rise up. If you are like the first to post about something, or you think you're going to be the first to post about something because you've learned something really interesting and huge before a lot of people, then post it really quickly. That's a good way of driving engagement, is when you're the first one to know about something and you post it, and then people know about it and follow it and such. Okay, next type of content that you can post to Facebook is video. So video is really the most meaty and it drives the most engagement. Video does, and for obvious reasons. Video is just super engaging, much more so than something that's written, and much more so than a photo. It's video. So let's talk about best practices for posting a video to Facebook. And we're going to talk about Facebook Live right after this, but they're very similar. So pay attention to what's here in video, and you'll see a lot of it repeated, or I'll reference a lot of it in the next little chunk when we talk about Facebook Live. So for video, you want to grab people's attention, and you want to do it in the most visually stunning way. So we talked about this previously when we talked about video ads being posted to Facebook. So when you just post a regular video, you're not paying to have it on Facebook. It's not a paid advertisement. It's just a video that you created and you're uploading on there. You'll want to follow those same guidelines that I talked about in posting Facebook ads. So you want to grab people's attention right away. And you grab their attention right away. So the way that you do that is by having it really well lit. And like I mentioned earlier, like a close-up on people's faces is something that's really intriguing to the human brain, a really well-lit human face. But whatever it is, even if it's something just beautiful in your community that you're taking a video of, starting your video out, make sure that the lighting is really great. And then have like an irresistible headline in the part that appears like in the post right above the video. And don't be afraid to be a little bit clickbaity with that, as long as it's authentic. Don't say anything stupid up there. But if you say you're talking about an important issue in your community, like homelessness on Main Street, and so your headline is, has anyone else seen the increase in homeless population on Main Street? Are we going to do something about it? That's kind of a catchy headline. Something like that, something that's going to resonate with your voters. It's going to make people want to stick around and see what this video is all about. And at the very beginning of the video, introduce yourself, say you're a candidate for such and such office, and give the point of the video right up front. But definitely introduce yourself right up front, because those very first few seconds of the video might be the only thing that somebody sees. So you really, really, really want to grab their attention by having it well lit, maybe doing something or saying something right out the gate. that grabs people's attention. And during that same time, you're going to say who you are and what office you're running for. And you're going to say, like, what am I talking about in this video? So maybe for me, like say I'm running for Sutter County Supervisor and back in my hometown, and I'm really concerned about like a new like gas tax that they're proposing for Sutter County. So maybe at the beginning it is like me, really well lit, me like holding like a gas tank like this or something like that, grabs people's attention because you're like, what's this idiot doing holding this gas tank giving a funny look? Okay, I'm just doing this as like an example. I don't know if this is something I would actually do. And then I like say like, hey, I'm Chris Moore, I'm running for Sutter County Supervisor, and we're going to talk about how silly this new gas tax is that I'm super opposed to. You know, it's like that, it's kind of an ad almost, but it grabs people's attention and they know exactly who you are and the point of the video. So I hope that makes sense. So you can kind of follow off of that. And second is you want to have good sound in the video. And you can use the phone microphone just doesn't quite cut it. These smartphones are very, very, very amazing, and they do everything under the sun, and I'm thankful for mine every day. But if you're making quality video, then you need to buy a microphone to go along with it. So you can get something as cheap as like $15 or so that plugs into the headphone jack on your phone, and then just clips like right. I have one right here. So here's a little microphone that I use, and it plugs right into my phone. And the sound quality is quite a bit better than just than using the microphone that's included on your phone. So make sure that you have good sound, because it really it adds that professional edge to your video that really makes a difference with people. Third is that you have to put captions on your video. I talked earlier about how in Facebook, when you upload video, it will automatically give you the option to add captions automatically. So it goes through and basically listens to your video and then puts words on with it. So let Facebook go through and do that for you, and then you go back and make sure that all of the words are correct and that the timing lines up the right way. And double check it pretty closely, because you could have some funny errors in there, and you don't want that. But the reason that the captions are so important is because when you're scrolling through a Facebook feed, when you come to a video, then, as you've probably noticed, you just see the video, but you don't hear anything. And so in order to hear what's going on, you have to like actually click on it and have it open up. But a lot of people will just start. It's funny, like people will be like, do I want to make the commitment to click on this video? Like it's some sort of like big, huge commitment, you know? So they just start watching it silently to see what's going on. And then if people start talking, then they need to know what those people are saying. And so that's why the captions come in handy at the bottom. And then you'll also, in the video, you'll want to sprinkle calls to action throughout. So if the point of the video is to try and get some more volunteers, then maybe the point of the video is to talk about this, like gas tax or whatever, like I was just saying in my little example. But then, a third of the way through the video, you talk about how, if this is something that is resonating with you guys and you want to fight back against this proposed gas tax, then join me in my campaign. We have a volunteer event, blah, 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 blah. You can go to www.chrismooreforsupervisor.com, et cetera, et cetera. So don't go super heavy on it, because you don't want it to feel like like an infomercial or, like a used car salesman type, but you have to have some sort of call to action in there. That needs to be in the video. So now let's talk about Facebook Live. So for those of you that don't know what Facebook Live is, it's essentially video, but rather than being recorded and then uploaded to, like you record the video, you end it, okay, it's all over. Now I've uploaded it to Facebook. Okay, now I add my little captions, I approve it, okay, I post it for the world, and then people can go look at your video. Facebook Live is you're okay, beep, you turn it on, and then the camera starts going, and whatever you're recording with your camera is going out live to all of your Facebook followers. And not every single one of your followers is seeing it. They have to actually be notified or see that you've gone live on Facebook, and then go in and watch it. And then when they're watching you going live, say you are going and talking about homelessness in your community, and you have a proposal to deal with it. So you set up your little phone in your living room, and you go live, and then here's you with your little microphone, and you're talking, and you say oh, hey everybody, here I am on Facebook Live, whatever. So people can then also, as they're seeing you talk, they can also write comments or ask you questions, and it pops up on your phone. You can see what people are saying and answer their questions if they're asking you questions. Okay, so that's what Facebook Live is. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it and have seen it. So let's talk about some tips on how you can best utilize Facebook Live for your campaign, because it is a very powerful tool. So first call out here is that Facebook Live is Facebook's favorite. So when you go live on Facebook, one more call out about a Facebook Live video. So you go live on Facebook. Facebook records everything that's happening, and then when you're done, you turn it off. Then it becomes a video, just like any other video. And then so when people go to your Facebook page, they can see that video. It's just a recording of the Facebook Live, or it pops up in people's news feeds. And just like if you were to create a video and upload it, it would pop up in other people's Facebook news feeds. But as you know, not everything that all of your Facebook friends create ends up in your Facebook feed. And likewise, everything that you create and post on Facebook doesn't end up in every single one of your friends' Facebook feeds. Facebook has, fancy software that's written that prioritizes certain content over the others and decides ultimately what shows up in everybody's news feeds. Facebook has been trying to push Facebook Live really, really, really hard ever since they rolled it out. So Facebook's software prioritizes Facebook Live above everything else. So if you were to post on your Facebook page, if you said, hey guys, really trying to raise some more money for my campaign, would you like to make a contribution? And then you put a little link to your website where people can make a contribution. And let's say you have 1,000 Facebook followers. That solicitation for a donation might show up in 50 people's news feeds. It's okay, well, cool, whatever. If you go live on Facebook and talk about needing a donation and talk about whatever, but just very active going live on Facebook, that will show up to almost all of your followers. Well, I don't know the exact numbers, that I'm just doing this as an illustrative example, but it will show up in many, many, many more of your followers' news feeds because Facebook prioritizes Facebook Live videos. Okay, so you get the point. Now you see how powerful it can be. So use just standard video tips that I've already gone over a couple of times here. Use really great lighting. Make sure that you have good audio by utilizing a microphone that plugs into your phone, or a wireless microphone that connects to your phone and your camera, so that when you're speaking, it's very clear. have a very catchy headline that grabs people's attention right from the beginning, lets them know like what this video is about. That's all very important, even for a Facebook Live. Very, very important. So when you go on Facebook Live, so it'll give you a countdown. It'll literally say like 3, 2, 1. And when that countdown is happening, what you're gonna wanna do, have very good lighting, as I've said a million times, have really great lighting and be looking right into the camera. And for those of you that don't realize, when you're on your phone recording video and you have your own face, like you have your phone turned around so that the screen is facing toward you. So when you want to look directly into the camera, the lens is not part of the screen. The lens is like somewhere else on your phone. So on an iPhone, it's up like by the earpiece. I'm not sure with other types of phones, but you want to look directly into that lens. So this is me looking into the lens of the camera. This is me looking at the screen. See the difference? Like if I'm talking like this to you, does it feel like I'm being very engaged with you? No. But if I'm looking right here and speaking with you, then it probably feels like I'm a lot more engaged with you, because it probably feels like I'm actually looking you in the eye. So I know it can be a little bit difficult, because you're like, oh, well, over here I can see myself, and like I can analyze every little thing that I'm doing, and like, you know, look at every little part of my face over here. It can be very distracting, but you have to look right here into the camera. So you go live on Facebook, and it's saying 3, 2, 1. It's giving you the countdown. And so you look right into the camera and you smile and get ready for it to start going. Just like this. Hopefully you have a bigger, prettier smile than me. So you're looking right in the camera, and then you say, hi, my name's Chris Moore, and I'm running for Sutter County Supervisor. And just wanted to go live with you here tonight and talk about blah, 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 blah. You say like whatever the point of the video, say it right there at the front. So that's how you start off the video. It's really important, because when that you start it like, you know, like looking pretty, looking nice, like right at the beginning, because when your Facebook Live ends and it just turns into a normal video, then, and that's how most people are going to see this. Most people aren't going to be there right on their phone or right on their computer when you go live and be able to see you live. For most people that actually see this, it'll be just like a normal video popping up. They can see that it was live because it says like Chris Moore was live, but it'll show up just like a regular video. So just like we were talking about earlier with best practices for creating videos to upload, same idea applies here. So when people are going through their newsfeed and they come to your Facebook Live, which is now a video, you want them to see, just like we said before, a really well-lit, bright face, someone smiling, catchy headline, all the same, all the same. So another really powerful way that you can get this Facebook Live video seen by tons and tons of more people is to get them to interact with the video. So if you start off, it's like 3, 2, 1, smiling, like, hi, I'm Chris Moore, I'm running for blah, 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 blah. Today just wanted to take a second to talk to you about blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, wow, like I'm really glad to see some of you guys jumping on here. Where are you watching from? Like what city, what part of the, district or whatever. So that last little part where it's like, oh, I'm so glad to see some people jumping on here. Where are you watching from, or, whatever. That's what I mean by getting people to interact with the video. So let's talk about a couple different strategies here. Like I just said, where are you watching from? You can ask people, if you're running in a district that covers different counties or different cities, you can, ask people which city they're in or which part of the town they're from or whatever. You can ask people like, give me a 1 if such and such, or give me a 2. So if you're talking about like gas tax. So how many of you supporters on here support the new gas tax that's been proposed? Just write a 1 in the comments right now. Okay, let's see. And then you can like count them as they're coming in. You can say like, okay, how many of you are opposed? Give me a 2. And you can see them as they're coming in. If you have lots of people that are on your Facebook Live, you can say like, okay, everybody, if you're opposed to such and such, give me a 1. If you support such and such, give me a 2. And then you can see the comments like coming by a little bit quicker, and then you can get a feel for how many 1s and 2s are coming in. So the idea is that the more that people interact with the video, the more that they comment on it, then they are, it's telling Facebook that this video has a lot of value. Like, people care about it, people are interacting with it. So then Facebook knows, like, okay, this isn't something stupid. This is something that people are interacting with, people are getting value out of it. They're really consuming it and involved with it. So now I'm going to prioritize this video, this Facebook Live, higher, and then Facebook is going to make it show up more in other people's feeds. Something that I failed to mention here, getting people to interact with the video, a really powerful way to do this, to like spread, is to spread your page and awareness about this video, is to ask people to share it. So that's something that you can do right there at the very beginning, is like, hey, yeah, we're just gonna get started. I'm talking about blah, 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 blah. If you know anybody else in our community that feels as passionate about this as you do and I do, then can you share this to your Facebook? And what you'll want to do is you'll want to tell people exactly how to do it. So you swipe, I believe you swipe to the left, or they might have even changed that, but there is a share button. So take a look at it and like go watch somebody else's Facebook Live video and figure out how to share it to your wall. But you know, it's a little button with a little arrow or whatever. You might have to swipe left or right, or it might just be right there in front of you. But ask people to share it to their own Facebook feed, and if they think that their Facebook friends would be interested in it. Another way of doing something very similar is like tag someone in the comments that you think would be interested in this. So that idea. Okay, and then the next point here, traffic comes later, don't worry. So this is what I was talking about previously. If you go live on Facebook and you only have, you know, like a couple of people or no people on there, don't worry about it. Continue right ahead as if there are people on there. So maybe don't ask people like, give me a 1 if you think this, or give me a 2 if you think that. So, you know, maybe you don't do that because then it might look a little bit weird. But just fake it till you make it. Carry on, just like nothing. Trust me on this. Tons of people are doing this every single day. They're doing it to make money and grow businesses online. This is exactly how they're doing it. Traffic will come later. And I know it's going to be nerve-wracking when you start out at first doing live video, but you just have to jump into it. Okay. So here's some recommendations about things you can go live about, because that's always a tough thing for people to figure out, is what do I even go live about? So for political candidates, I did a little bit of brainstorming here. You can do an Ask Me Anything. So this is something you want to do maybe when you have a little bit more of a following and you're sure that at least a dozen people or more are going to show up. You can even put like get some friends and family to make sure that they go on and ask you questions. But do it and Ask Me Anything. And just know that you may get asked anything. So know where to draw the line and how to handle some weird conversations. You could do a one-on-one with community leaders. So it's almost like you're sitting down to interview them. You're putting your little Oprah hat on and getting real with somebody from your community. Maybe it's somebody that leads a big charity and you can just ask them about their history with the community and anything. You can do it town hall style, so that just tell all of your followers that you want to take questions from them or you want to hear from them about what's going on in the community and what they would like you to do as an elected official if you were to win. You can, if you were to do something like that, like a live town hall style, you would definitely want to like set up a Facebook invite for that, so that you knew you had at least some people that were aware of it and RSVP'd for it, and to get people to actually join you. You can live broadcast an important community event that's happening. So basically all you do is, just go live on your phone and show it as it's happening to all of your followers. And you can narrate over it, talk about what's happening or not. If you have a big announcement for the campaign, you can go live about that. The sort of things that maybe you would have a press conference about, so any big news in the campaign. Or I also have here like breaking news, like say something really, like a huge decision came out of the Supreme Court, like when gay marriage was legalized. If I was an openly gay person running for office when that happened, I would probably go live on Facebook to talk about it. It's a good way of driving excitement. People are going to want content about those items when they break. Okay, so that is it for Facebook Live. And I have one more note on Facebook. So a note about arguing on Facebook. So the general idea here is don't freaking do it. Just don't get into it. It's such a slippery slope, and it's just such a permanent thing. You can get mad, write things that you don't actually think about, or things that you don't actually think, and it's just a bad idea, so just don't go there. You can state your position on things, do it in a post. If maybe someone writes you like a really genuine question on your post, a comment about something, and they really, they're not trying to like bait you with a question, but they actually really do have a question about something, you can respond to that. But when it's turning into just a stupid argument, and just literally just completely ignore it. And if you need to or want to, just go and unfollow the post so you don't even see it coming to your inbox anymore. Just don't go there, don't do it.